Something magic happens every time you go. Make the magic happen. Make the magic happen.
Heyo, it's the Orioles Spastics, the one and only Orioles baseball / Arrested Development fan podcast. With you today, Dean Eastlake, and join with me, as always, Chris Knightsey and Charlie Hoppus. Chris, how you doing?
I'm living it up in the Great North. It rained today.
Breaking news out of Albany, New York.
It rained. It rained today.
All right. And hello, Charlie.
I am so upset with Chris's intro. I am so excited for this podcast. We've got
all right, so let's redo that.
Less than a week, we've got season 4 of Arrested Development coming out.
JJ
blowing saves for the first time since I was a little boy, and
so exciting.
And Kevin Gooseman coming up. Gausman. Have we ever figured out how to say
Try again.
And Kevin Gausman. Wow, how do you say his name?
That's close.
Gausman.
Kevin Gausman.
Gausman.
And Kevin Gausman coming up to the majors to make his first start. It's a really, really, really exciting week for us. We've got a double whammy here with Orioles Spastics. We got Arrested Development and we've got Orioles.
Yeah.
Walk-off homer last night.
I'm just here to balance out your excitement.
That's not usually how this works. I don't feel comfortable with this.
The tides have turned.
I don't feel good about this.
All right, before we get too far into things, we want to give a shout out to our fellow podcasters at Section 336. They're doing this awesome event. They call it the Night at the Yard. Tuesday, July 30th, they are going to try to buy out all of Section 336 with Orioles podcaster fans, or with their fans, with our fans. It's a deal. It's a $20 for the ticket and also a shirt. It'll be a Section 336 shirt. They're running a little special here for all of our listeners. If you type in a promo code SPASTICS, by the end of this month, you can get $3 off that order, so you can't beat that. $17 for a shirt and a ticket, and we're playing the Astros, so we're basically guaranteed to win. So you can find them, Section 336 on Facebook. You'll see a little link there for Night at the Yard. We'll put up links on our Twitter and our Facebook page to route you over to that. Put in that promo code SPASTICS and join us out there Tuesday, July 30th for a game against the Astros.
Now,
also, check out their podcast. If you go for anything, they have Bert's Story Time, which is just the best segment of any Orioles podcast ever. Bert Rohde has amazing experiences at Orioles Park, and he shares a nice little story each week. So go ahead and check them out.
Hey, are they anticipating, are they prepared for when all the Spastics codes come in, buying up all of Section 336?
I was going to say, I'm worried that they should probably buy up 338 also, just to be sure. Spastics Nation.
I don't know if they're quite prepared for this.
They're not. I don't think they're ready for this
Spastics takeover.
Well, if there are less than 10 seats in Section 336, we will definitely buy all of them out with all of our listeners and our immediate family.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I like to just go to the yard and, buy up a whole row so that no one has to sit next to me.
Did you say you go to the ER and buy up a whole row?
The yard.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Sometimes I go to the ER and buy up the whole section, too. The place gets dangerous.
Also, in addition to checking out Section 336, the Orioles Spastics has launched their own Facebook page. So go ahead, find us on Facebook, type in Orioles Spastics, like us up there on Facebook. We have little links to our podcast, so you can listen to our podcast from there. You can chat us all up, all that fun stuff on Facebook, also on Twitter. Still looking for your fan mail. We have a couple more fan mails that came in this week that we'll get to later. So we're on all the social media networks. We are making ourselves available for you.
A couple hundred more fan mails.
Hundreds. We might even get the Darren O'Day's email. Who knows?
Okay, that's good. Hopefully. I'm interested to hear that one.
Might have time for him. So before we get into too much Orioles, as Charlie mentioned earlier, Arrested Development is soon upon us. It's like, I thought today was Friday for some reason. That's a bummer. It's only Wednesday. But in a couple more days, we will have brand new Arrested Development, and I'm going crazy. Obviously, watching season 3 was a blast. It's the shortest of all the seasons. For some reason, it's cut short. Darn you, marketing and your ineffectiveness to market the greatest show since Seinfeld. But let's recap our favorite season 3 moments, our favorite quotes. Who's got one?
I got one. My favorite moment from season 3. Keep in mind that I have not rewatched season 3 in a while, so I've watched a couple episodes. Probably about half of them. So I'm going to go with, it was in one of the first few episodes. I don't know the exact title of the episode, but Job gets a letter in the mail about letting him know that he can meet his actual son, even though he took it as his father wanted to meet up with him, George Sr. And then he goes and he sits next to Steve Holt. We start talking about how both of their fathers didn't show up to this father-son reunion, and they become friends. And the best part of that was actually as they're making fun of that episode, or not they're making fun of the statue with the kid holding the severed hand. Job shakes Steve Holt's hand in that exact same way, and that was my favorite part of season 3.
I think that's because we kind of look alike.
Oh, golly.
All right, what about you, Charlie?
I like I hate this reference so bad, but when Lucille is going to visit George Sr. in prison, he makes a grand romantic gesture and and she says, "I want to cry so bad, but I don't think I can spare the moisture." It's just like awful, but the way it hits you is just
That is so good.
ugh,
Lucille.
brutal. What about you, Dean?
Man, we're going to have new Lucille moments like this soon. My favorite, it's hard to say. Season 3 is probably my favorite season. I like that how all the running jokes just keep going throughout season 3. And probably my favorite of just the repeating jokes through the episodes is the reference to sliding into second base and the air horn. They just use it so many times throughout the episode. And the first time they use it, it's describing Maybe and George Michael.
And although he'd only gotten to second base, he'd gone in head first, like Pete Rose.
And it's perfect for our podcast. That pretty much should just be our theme joke.
And
baseball related.
do you remember the last time they used it?
The last time, I know they use it again with Job and Ann.
Yeah, it was that last episode when George and Michael goes to the yacht and he finds that
Yes.
Ann and Job have gotten together, and then he talks about how, or she mentions that they haven't actually done anything. Then that reference comes on, and then George Michael punches him.
I wasn't sure if that was the last, though.
Yeah.
I guess it was.
Last
I love
episode.
that. Also, vodka going bad once it's been opened. It's just so funny. And it's also during season 3 where you see the entire family does the chicken dance all together. I guess except for Job, he comes
Is that
in
when
late.
he comes in late with the chicken, the nose, the beak?
I've just the thing.
Come on!
And they all stop. And yeah, he finally comes out, and I love that Tobias kind of like peeks out from the kitchen and has like this big grin. It's like watching him like so happy for Job.
I'm so excited for this 4th season. I can't begin to tell you.
Yeah,
Let's talk. Let's hash it
Let's
out.
hash it out.
I'm wondering. So what do you guys think this first episode? I guess they're all the episodes are focusing on different people. What do you think the first episode? Who do you think it's going to focus on?
I don't think they settled on that. I think that they changed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that was the original plan, but
All right.
Oh yeah, I have not heard. I've been trying to keep myself inside a bubble. I hate trailers, and I don't know. I want to go into this brand new. I don't want to know any of the jokes. I saw, like the photos and the posters are okay, but I'm trying to stay away from any trailers. So the less I know, the better. But I do love to
I
speculate.
found out today that apparently John Krasinski of from Jim from The Office apparently has a role in this next season. So I'm interested to see what his role is.
something I'm really excited about is that John Slattery from Mad Men, who plays Roger Sterling in Mad Men, is going to be in this next season. I can't wait. I love Mad Men. It's probably not quite the same genre. I won't take up time here, but man, I am excited.
What's Mad Men?
It's
Yeah, what is that?
It's this hip new show. I don't.
Hip.
Is that on HBO? Do you have to be rich to watch
No,
that
it's on
show?
AMC. AMC picking up their game.
Yeah, how about
AMC
that?
has Breaking Bad and Mad Men, which are like definitely HBO quality shows.
Don't they have the zombie?
Oh, Walking
Walking
Dead?
Dead.
Is that
The Walking
Yeah,
AMC
Dead?
too?
yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of fun.
How's that? Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
weird.
Who knew?
How is that done? I watched the first two
I
seasons,
watched
but
what
then it got boring. They were like stuck at the barn for like
Yeah,
ever, and I lost
Herschel's
interest.
Farm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just so
Oh yeah.
slow.
Guys, we can't spend too much time talking about this, especially
Yeah.
because there's
What's that?
There's Orioles stuff to talk about. Right now, we're watching the game. It's in the third inning. Wieters just hit a 3-run homer, and the O's are up 6-1 against the Yanks. Feels good.
Since-
So we have to get there, but I can't possibly focus on that until we talk about the beautiful, beautiful season 4 that lays in front of us. 15 episodes of bliss. I think that's the unofficial season title. It's not.
Yeah, I have no expectations. I don't want to expect too much. I think the beauty really of Arrested Development is that it's only 3 seasons, to be honest. Like I don't know if I could really ever get into Seinfeld. I like watching Seinfeld and shows that kind of drag on, but it's like the beauty of Arrested Development is I've seen every episode like 20 times. Or even like Scrubs. Like Scrubs is awesome, but there's so many that you can't like possibly like watch them a million times and get every little thing. Intricacy. There's just something about that
So
that I really like
I
about
was
Arrested
I
Development.
was reading an article. I think it was like a little blurb in the Atlantic, and they were talking about how Arrested Development was so ahead of its time as far as a show because it's a show built to watch repeatedly. Like so for like basically what we watch now, things that are like broadcast on the internet or on Netflix. It was a show that was made to watch over and over again because there's so many little subtle like jokes in there that you don't pick up the first few times.
And
So you start to
reoccurring
pick them
jokes.
up.
Right.
Yeah, you start to pick them up like the fifth or
Yeah,
sixth
yeah.
time you've watched it. So it was kind of like ahead of its time because of what it came out in like '04 to '06, and no one was really watching it online. But I found that interesting because it totally made sense.
That does totally make sense.
Well, a while back, we kind of talked about the fourth season. I think it was like our second episode or so, and we made some predictions of what we thought the fourth season would contain for us. Chris, you said nothing, so that was good. You had no
Good.
expectations.
Good, because I didn't remember.
Charlie, which is who I thought was Chris written down here, but is not. Your prediction was that George Michael and Michael had love interests with people they previously knew to be related to them in some capacity, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
found out later they were not related to them. So is this still something that you're feeling?
I was never feeling it.
Ooh.
I hope that that's not something that we have to sit through, but I'm pretty sure that at the very least that will be, if not something that unfolds on screen, is covered in, because things get sort of suddenly steamy between Lindsay and Michael. And
Does
that
it get steamy, or is it? It's mostly just Lindsay.
It's Lindsay being drunk off the
Yeah.
vodka because she didn't want it to go bad the night previously.
right, which is reasonable. I mean, that's how I drink my vodka. But
Joe also took his chances at Lindsay.
oh,
Yeah, that was
right.
good.
too.
It does not go well. And obviously the sexual tension between Maybe and George Michael. So I mean, I don't know. Who's to say? I guess I don't know if I hope that happens or anything like that, but it could happen. They'll probably cover it. I'm interested to see. I mean, towards the end of the series, their real estate business has essentially tanked. But my hope is that
They're up to risky.
my hope is that they have a completely different business that they like. That's if I have like a one thing that I could hope for, I hope that they have just like completely involved themselves in like antiques and the selling and trading of antiques or something ridiculous.
And I wonder if instead of George being in prison, it'll be Lucille being in prison because at the very
Well, she
end,
was
the
supposed to,
SEC
yeah.
was called on her. Anyang,
That's true. I forgot.
blew the whistle on that, so
had a-
that could be interesting.
I hadn't drawn that connection.
Well, because also in that one of the last scenes, George Michael and Michael are on the boat with the $500,000 in the bonds.
Right.
And they're
Yep.
headed to Cabo, or at least so they say. So I'm interested to see. I mean, I doubt that ever happened. I'm sure.
And
they'll
if Lucille
find
was actually in prison, I think that would be a shame because she is best when
out. Yeah.
degrading her children, around them often. So
Yeah, I bet it picks up like after she's released. If she ever goes to prisons, they pick up right after she's released or something.
And are we 100% sure? So there's a couple episodes, 15 episodes, and then a movie. Have we confirmed that that is the case?
I mean, I heard it, when they were talking about the season, the next series or next season coming
That's what
out.
they say.
Well, the last episode even ends with, I don't think it'll be a TV series.
Oh yeah, Ron Howard.
But maybe a movie. And
I
that's
see
like
more
how
some-
the whole rumor started
Yeah.
years and years ago. Everyone was waiting for a movie.
Yeah.
And I held out for so long thinking it would never come back, and
But Netflix
here
resurrected.
it is. But I think, Charlie, I think you said that you're very skeptical of this
I mean,
movie.
how are you not going to be skeptical? We've had to hear like rumors of a new season and movies for years and years, and then it just never really came out since 2007 or 2008 is when they started talking about the movie.
It's time to be a believer.
I'm not ready to believe in the blues. Not yet. I hope to God that there is. That would be great, but I'm not convinced.
And do we want more than the fourth season?
I
Or is this
I don't know.
the end?
want the fourth season and a movie.
Yeah, I can't have too much of a good thing. For another season in the movie is like it. I think that's when you call it quits.
Yeah, I could get behind.
Maybe a spin-off somewhere.
A spinoff would be fine because you wouldn't if it turned out to be good.
It doesn't ruin the legacy of.
Right,
Rest
and
of
you could enjoy it, and if you decide that it sucks, it doesn't ruin it. Right, that could be good. Who would you want to see spun off on though?
Who would I want to see? Well, let's see. I'm thinking maybe. So Tobias already had a TV show. Actually, it's kind of funny thinking like all those people have had TV shows, except let's see what George or Michael Cera turned into he started doing all
Right.
the movies. Tobias had his show. What was the show? It was like on Showtime or HBO.
Yeah, and he does a lot
And he does stand up.
of other stand up and things.
Cross, yeah.
David Cross. Yeah, what was I can't remember the show. And then Will Arnett did a TV series.
Yeah, he's had a couple.
Yeah.
And he's always just Job.
Yeah, well that's like his that is his
And
character.
then who? Lindsay, what's her name? Portia or
Portia de
something?
Rossi.
Portia. I don't know if I've ever seen her in
her and
anything
Ellen
else.
DeGeneres.
She was in Better Off Ted, but I never saw it.
Yeah, I watched Better Off Ted. That was all right. Yeah, so I don't
And
know.
Lucille, she does like voices for some for Archer.
Yeah, so I don't know
I've
who
heard her
I'd wanna,
voice about.
I don't know who I'd
I feel
want
like it would
to
have to be Job.
I feel like-
Tobias doesn't have
I feel like
much
what
to
I
do,
would
or
wanna
it could
see-
follow Tobias's like acting career. Maybe.
What I would want to see is Tobias and Job have a show.
A business.
Or like
they
some kind
finally
of
get a business
yeah,
started.
Joe
What
Bias
is,
Industries.
Joe
Bias.
Bias, Joe Bias, or Go Bias, yeah.
Like go buy us a
and-
cup of coffee.
Go buy us a cup of coffee.
It's the only thing I can pronounce on this whole freaking podcast. It's only because of
I
that.
want something with those two.
And analropist. I can also pronounce analropist. I'm excited. Dean, are we? So I don't. Do we ever figure out what we're doing for this watching/potting adventure on Sunday here?
Yeah, I think your original idea was a good one. If it's broken down into 15 episodes, we can probably watch the first 5. We'll record our thoughts, relive the glory, as they say.
They do say that.
Go back, watch the next 5, relive the glory, and then the final 5 and relive the glory. And you can listen along with us.
Yeah,
Well, not with us after.
a companion.
You can relive the glory too.
The companion of the season.
Thank you, constant listener.
Nice. Yeah, so that'll be good. Are we going to do that on Sunday, Dean?
Sure.
Chris, are you? I forget. You have a wedding.
So
You're,
I have a
you're
wedding
getting
on
married.
Saturday. On Sunday,
Congratulations, by the way, getting married.
Big step.
going to see someone else get married. Yes, it'll be fun. But there's a chance Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, I'll be up in Baltimore staying with some friends. So maybe we'll be able to tune in
Okay.
and catch up.
Okay, nice.
So, but no guarantees.
Nice. So we'll have a. What do you think, Dean? By the latest, by Monday, sometime.
Yeah, we'll have it up by Monday.
Boom. So next Monday, if you haven't, or even if you have already seen all of Arrested Development season 4, join us for a trip down recent memory lane.
We feel good with Arrested Development. Is it all out? Is it out of our systems? Are we ready for the...
Let's talk some ball.
Let's talk
Yes.
some balls and get into some Orioles.
Well, I'll start my own
buzz.
business. How hard can it be? Bzzz. Bzzz. We'll see who brings in more honey.
He's still
6-game losing
he's
streak.
still talking about bees.
What happened? Okay, we went through a 6-game losing streak, got swept twice in a row, first time all year. Well, if you can call the Padres a sweep.
Oof.
Yeah,
I
2-game
can
sweep.
because we lost twice in a row to the Padres.
To the
Yeah,
Padres.
it's
And we blew a
okay.
save.
We did.
Jim Johnson did.
Jim Johnson did.
Yeah.
Are we ready to get rid of him?
Yeah, just cut him loose.
Sell.
Stand poor, sit well,
Risky.
Jim Johnson. Go.
Risky. All right.
Jim Johnson, what do we got to say about him? He was dominant last year. What, 35 for 35. He's old reliable. You never really think about it when you put Jim Johnson out. And for the first time, last night, for the first time when I was at that game, I was like, I'm a little nervous Jim Johnson coming in right now.
Yeah, I noticed earlier in the season, I think he maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, he had a blown save. I think it led to a loss, but it was a lot of ground ball singles that found holes. But the last few, especially that meltdown that he had the other night where he walked a bunch of people too. That's not. I don't mind seeing the one run the singles that ground ball singles or softly hit balls that because that's going to happen. The guy is a ground ball pitcher. He doesn't strike out many. He's going to put the ball in play. So eventually those are just going to find holes. But
He does seem to have a lot of base runners on this year, though.
But when he starts walking people, that's when you get a little bit worried.
On Twitter the other night, after blown save number 3, and after blown save number 2 for that matter, Twitter exploded with just, all right, he doesn't have it. Who are we going to bring? Let's bring in Darren O'Day to close games out. Let's use my favorite part was people saying Tommy Big Game Hunter should close out some games.
Tommy Big Game Hunter, the guy who's home run prone.
And also, these were the same.
Brings the heat.
These are the same people that were just saying, cut Tommy Hunter, cut him, trade him, send him to the minors, do something.
I love the fans.
1 month later, it's just ridiculous. So no, I think what Chris says is exactly right. He's a ground ball pitcher. When he throws strikes, he's going to get ground balls. He needs to throw strikes, and the trouble is right now, and to be honest, I am so far behind what even, basically any baseball mind knows about this, but his breaking balls have been just hanging and getting destroyed when he's hanging them. So, even in last night's save, or last night's appearance, I guess.
A win.
Yeah, last night's win. He got hit hard. At least 2 of those were sort of not quiet lineouts. I think that we're not out of the woods yet with him. I also think that it's going to be fine. He's going to figure it out. And there's not too much to worry about over the course of the season. Is he going to be essentially perfect like last year? No. Is that okay? Yeah, that's probably okay.
Yeah, I think last night goes a long way. Just stop the bleeding. Everyone can get off the ledge. Ended the losing streak. JJ came in. Actually, he didn't even have a base runner. I think they went 1, 2, 3. So, it's kind of back to normal.
Yeah,
we feel better.
You were at that game. Was it was any good stories? Was the atmosphere? I know there's quite a big crowd there.
There was an awesome crowd. It was mind blowing to me how many people left as soon as the 9th inning ended.
Huh.
I could not believe it was like a mass exodus. I think it was do you people realize that the game is
not over?
Still going on?
No, Dean, baseball
blowing my mind.
No, baseball's 9 innings.
Free baseball here.
No, 9 innings.
Yeah, they rushed to pay for the extra baseball, I guess. I don't know. So that was one thing that I couldn't believe. No, the atmosphere was great. It was just a beautiful night. The first maybe 5 innings, it was just the lazy crowd. We'd get up every once in a while when Dickerson bombed a home run, who had a great game, by the way, and also was playing awesome.
Both sides of the plate.
And then his third at bat, he attempted to bunt with the first pitch. We're like, wait, didn't you just hit 2 home runs?
Any way he can do it.
Any way he can, certainly. The bunt didn't work out, but he ended up getting on base even later in the game, 3 for 4. So he had a great game. Obviously, the walk-off home run was great. I don't know. It's just it was great being there at the yard. There were Yankees fans there, but they definitely weren't overpowering like they've been in the past.
Yeah.
That was refreshing to see.
Baby steps. The other thing that was nice about last night is we had a couple indelible images of last year where it was just Chris Davis picking up Nate McLouth and, our first one, or Tommy Hunter with the home run going directly over his head in Seattle and him just standing there with his hands, or sitting there in the bullpen with his hands up in the air to celebrate the home run without moving. Last night was sort of our first image of that for the season, and it was as the Klaus home runs sailing out, Dickerson just like standing there with his head tilted back and his arms up, just like screaming in like joy. It was awesome.
Did you see his other like 2 celebrations that he had after he hit the home runs?
Oh yeah, he scared the crap out of J.J. Hardy after his
Oh,
one.
yeah,
The other
Wait,
one,
I didn't see this.
But the other one, there's a couple gifs of it. Like the other one, he's like just like pumping his arms up with Jones. It looks pretty hilarious.
I like Dickerson. I like him.
Yeah, especially when he's winning games for us.
If he's playing like he is now, it's like the best of when like Corey Patterson or somebody like that.
Yeah, that's who he reminds me of a little bit.
Fast and
doesn't steal the bait. Well, we haven't seen enough of him yet, but he hits better than Corey Patterson.
Yeah, here's hoping that keeps up. I like him.
Yeah, he has great speed. He legged out an infield hit, and I kept mistaking him for Adam Jones in the field. He played a good center field last night, too. So he fit right in. Also, I mean, Gonzalez coming in first outing after the injury and was great.
Yeah, solid.
And
Very
also,
solid.
an interesting part of the game, there was, I forget what inning it was, maybe the 5th inning. Both teams had 5 hits. The Orioles had 5 runners left on base, and the Yankees only had 1 runner left on base. So we were pulling a lot of double plays, or I don't know. I don't know how to quantify those statistics, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting. Did we talk about how hot J.J. Hardy has been?
Oof.
I mean, I talked about it last week, I think, right?
Oh yeah, he was your.
He's my weekly guy.
Your what? What do you call it?
Whatever. I don't remember. My weekly dude. There, solid dude weekly.
I don't know if
solid
that's
dude of the week.
Solid bro.
Solid week. Solid dude weekly. Solid dude weekly sounds like something else, but
I also read somewhere that, and this is I guess halfway through last week, that there were only 6 players in baseball that had played every inning for their team, and 2 of them were J.J. Hardy and Manny Machado.
Wow. Yeah, after thinking about that, those 2 I haven't noticed them out of the lineup at all.
You haven't, because it hasn't happened.
Oh, that's why.
I have not noticed that they've been out.
It would have been impossible to notice that. So I don't know. I think that maybe the 6-game losing streak is a little bit of unnecessary panic. With JJ, in those 6 games, JJ blows 3 saves. So that's not great. We lose all 3 games. So that's 3 games right there that ordinarily we can take to the bank. And then another game, we had just a dreadful start by Hamill, and we ended up scoring 10 runs and losing, which is unbelievable. So
is it unbelievable good that we didn't just lay over and died, or is it unbelievable bad that we scored 10?
It's just unbelievable.
The Orioles have made me a believer that they just like don't care what the score is when they're on offense, and they're just gonna like keep playing. I believe that they're just always going to do that. And so that part was not so surprising. And, butterfly effect, maybe if they weren't up by so much, they put in stronger pitchers or something else. But whenever you have a 10-run performance and lose, just in general, something that's happening, and I'm no wizard for acknowledging this, our starting rotation is really, really bad right now. Jair did not... Jar Jar did not pitch well. I don't know. Freddie Garcia's pitched okay the last couple starts, but he's been dicey. Hamill hasn't really pitched well all season, although currently he's pitching fairly well, knock on wood, in this game. Basically, we've had Tillman and Chen as reliable starters. Chen's on the DL for an extended period of time. The fact that we're not getting good innings out of our starters, and the fact that the bullpen was not overworked last year, but heavily leaned upon last year, it couldn't feel good that we have to use Darren O'Day every night.
Oh no,
that's not a good thing.
No, him and Jim Johnson have been just used way too much already this year.
Yeah, and it comes back to the starting rotation. As I say this, Hamill gives up a home run to Granderson.
No,
so 6-2 in the 5th for those of you that future us are going to know when this podcast comes out. You'll know what happens.
Yes, but let me make this clear. it's in the 5th inning, and Jason Hamill's only given up 2 runs.
Not going.
Wait, let me make this clear. He's still in the game, and it's the 5th inning.
So the fact that we're making
Yes,
all these
but
jokes,
the last time,
the fact that we're making all these jokes. First off, the Orioles lead the league in starting pitchers used this season. We've already
what?
10.
and yeah,
10. That's 2 rotations on tomorrow night, which tonight, when you guys are all listening to this,
that'll be 11.
we're going to have our 11th pitcher. And I think that it was time. I think that this was the right time for them to make this move. Because if worse comes to worse, he's not ready. We give him, 4 or 5 starts. And
But is he going to get 4 or 5, or is he going to get 1? Like everyone else has gotten 1 shot.
you don't bring him up for
Well-
one start. You bring up, I don't know, Zach Britton for 1 start or Jake Arrieta for 1 start.
Like that's the same thing with those like Jar Jar and all those other guys. Like if they would have continued to actually produce, they would have been up here still. But they didn't produce in their shot. Gossman's obviously a super highly regarded prospect, so they're gonna. Now it all depends. Like I imagine they're not just gonna bring him up for a start and see how it goes. I imagine he's up here for a couple starts at least, especially the first start, your major league debut. I can't think they can't read too much into that if he's super nervous or anything. So I would imagine he's up here for at least a couple.
Is this is a permanent call up? Is he here the rest of the season? Is he doing
that's the interesting thing, because right now he's obviously at an innings limit because this is only his first full season in the minors. So he's got an innings limit, and I assume that if they'll want him to pitch later in the year, as long as everything goes according to plan, we're still in it in September. But if they keep him on if he's starting every 5 games from here on out, he's going to run in. He's going to be out of innings by the end of the end of August, early September, and you're going to want him.
Strasburg shutdown controversy
right.
situation
Now,
going.
if the Orioles decide to just say screw that whole Verducci effect, we're just going to let him continue to pitch, then okay. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, he's not coming off of Tommy John's or anything.
True. Yeah.
I had not heard that he was on an innings limit. I guess
usually they always kind of are.
Yeah.
Just so early into his pro season.
I think in terms of Dean, if he will stay around for the whole season, I think that depends on production, but he definitely gets a longer leash than journeymen, Freddie Garcia and Jair Jurgens and, even people that we've had around a little bit, like Jake Arrieta and Zach Britton. Those guys have had opportunities. It's not, if he's coming up, it's because Dan Duquette and Buck Showalter believe that he is the person that is going to hold down a spot. And frankly, with 3+ pitches and how big and strong he is and a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, it's hard to believe that he's not one of the best 5. Because we've seen Steve Johnson, we've seen all these pitchers. It would be hard.
Really see Steve Johnson this year. He was great at the end of last year. He had 1 start, and he probably wasn't ready to come back from injury yet.
No.
I don't know. It's interesting that Gosman's getting his shot, and I don't know if everyone else has gotten a fair shake. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So my biggest thing with Gausman though is compared to all the other the members of the cavalry, Arrieta, Tillman, Britton, Hernandez when he was still around.
Mattis.
Those guys, Mattis, with the exception of actually Mattis, those other 4 guys were, high strikeout, but also high walk kind of guys. Mattis was a fairly good strikeout, pretty low walks. Gausman's also he's averaging 9 strikeouts a game. And he's walking 5 guys in 40 some innings pitched.
It's 5 guys this season, right?
5 guys. Yeah. 5 guys is good.
This season, he's walked 5 people.
Yeah.
Is that right?
that's the biggest thing. I think the ability to actually throw the strikes is going to be the biggest payoff going to the majors, assuming he doesn't, have some kind of crazy anxiety problems in his first start, which obviously no one would fault him for being a little nervous. But his ability to at least throw strikes in the minors, I think, will translate pretty well to the majors.
I read somewhere also that he's only made 13 professional starts. Isn't that insane?
Yeah. That's why you're kind of wondering, is he really ready? And I don't think he's really ready, but I don't think we have that luxury of letting the guy sit in the minors for a while right now.
I think he's ready enough to contribute, be a top 5 pitcher on our pitching staff right now. That's
Yeah,
what I
especially
think.
number
And because of
5.
that, I think he's going to get a long leash. I'm excited to see him, man.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
think
wait.
everyone is.
I can't wait.
No one. Let's just say no one's like really pissed off about this. There are probably many people that are kind of nervous, myself included. They're like, is he really ready? But I'm certainly not pissed off about it. I don't think it'll like ruin his development if he has one startup here and he gets knocked around, for a couple innings. I don't think it'll kill any confidence he might have had. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it.
At the beginning of the season, did we think we'd see Bundy first or Gosman first called up?
I don't know. Before we found out about Bundy getting hurt, Gooseman already had 3 years, 3. No, he had 3 years of college pitching. So that's that matches. Bundy only has 1 year post high school. So I think Gooseman was probably the candidate to have the first promotion, just because he'd already pitched 3 years in college.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Duquette in spring training was talking a lot about certainly Bundy's polished for his age and his experience, but Duquette was talking a lot about how it was a possibility that we would see both of them this year. But it just makes more sense. I mean, Gausman was the most polished pitcher in that draft, and Duquette said it. Many other scouts have said that he was professional baseball ready long ago and was pitching at a level probably about AA when he was in college, or at least his numbers seem to indicate that, and his numbers at the lower level seem to indicate that. So for him to come in, and it's not like he dominated AA, but pitched very well in AA this year. Yeah, I think it just sort of indicated, and how well he pitched in spring training, or how good he looked in spring training, I should say. It sort of indicated that he would be the guy, because this isn't going to be another Dylan Bundy cameo. These guys that are coming up now, they're going into the starting rotation, and they're there to probably stay. So I think that the fact that that's where we are in the season, it makes more sense that Gausman was going to get the call, and that Bundy might be a late season call up again.
While we're talking about call ups, I want to give you props tonight. So you mentioned last episode, I don't know if it was on air or a little bit off air, but one of the call ups you said that you thought was coming up was Danny Valencia, and sure is.
Boom, baby, crystal ball.
Damn it.
Who's next? Well, Gosman, that was an easy one.
So who's? Oh God, I haven't even looked at anything yet.
Flaherty got sent down. We didn't talk about that at all. See ya, Flaherty, Charlie's favorite player.
Good.
Really like what he brought to the table. That 118 average and
the defense.
Small sample size.
Yeah, true. But
I don't know why we aren't playing Castilla more. I'm sure there's a reason.
Cassilla's fun. I maybe it's because I'd identify with him because he's a scrappy player. He plays great defense and he's fast. And I'm just like, hey, those are the only things you need to be a baseball player, because that's all I could ever do.
His worst seasons are better than Navarro and Flaherty this year, and yet for some reason he's not been given any sort of chance. And his best seasons are significantly better. Like, they're pretty darn good. That doesn't make any sense. I'm sure there's a reason. Duquette and Showalter.
Duquette we trust.
Yeah, they know what they're talking about, obviously. Man, that's hard to watch.
Navarro's been decent, but Casilla, like the other day against CC, just the defense that Casilla played was just lights out. It was fun.
That was a pretty sick play that Navarro made last night, that leaping grab.
Oh, yeah. It was so weird to watch. It was like slow motion, the way he ran up to it and just jumped. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, but he's also booted a couple, like, grounders.
Well, the same game, he kind of booted one. It was almost exactly the same play that Casilla made, where he kind of like knocked him over when he was going into the hole. It was like the same play, but Navarro couldn't handle it.
That's weird. I'd just rather have Castilla, or at least give him a shot. Like,
you know what I'd rather have is a starting second baseman, but can't have everything.
Chris, that's ridiculous.
Your expectations are.
Bring back Billy Ripken.
Bring back Delano DeShields.
Dude, I'm down for that. I love Billy.
What? Delano?
All right, now is the time of the show where we read your fan mail.
Yeah.
And we love your fan mail. It brings us much joy every week.
Spastics love mail.
Good sign.
Orioles Spastics. Look at Banner, Michael.
Banner, damn it.
Family love, Michael.
When Buster gets his hook and he's like, I'm a monster, and it says, welcome home, Buster, and then he knocks it over, and then it says, you're killing me, Buster. And he just freaks out even more. Okay, so we have Ben Fisher, friend of the podcast, and he
Oh,
came
yeah.
on with us the other day.
Former guest.
He sent us a little link, which is awesome. InsertMeAnywhere.com. It sounds a little dicey when you read it out like that, but if you go to InsertMeAnywhere.com, you'll find
Doing it now.
Tobias basically doing a few different characters for you on green screen, and you can insert him anywhere into your own filmmaking adventures, and
That's great.
it's a good one. So Ben Fisher, thank you for InsertMeAnywhere.com.
I saw that, and I saw it on a Mad Men site, and they had chosen to
Mad
insert
Men.
Tobias into. I know, sorry for the second Mad Men reference. They had chosen to insert Tobias into a scene where the main character Don Draper was basically getting ditched by this woman he was having an affair with, and he just looks back sadly at the bed in the actual scene, and then he like walks out of the room. And in the mashup scene, Tobias is laying on the bed waving to him, or just like with this awesome Tobias face, and then he just like has this like sad look on his face, and then walks out of the hotel room. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And we have a second piece of fan mail here from Mr. Region. He says, "Dear Spastics, I have a question I would like to ask, but I have a quote I want to provide with it to provide context. And the quote is, it's Michael. He says, well, I'm just different from you, Job. You know, I'm not going to, siphon gas out of some girl's car like you used to in high school just so you could show up and say, car troubles? Job responds, it's called taking advantage. It's what gets you ahead in life. So Mr. Region says, what sort of AAA prospects or guys at the end of the bench do you see jumping in and making an impact either due to poor performance or injury from an Orioles starter? Who's going to Job their way up into the lineup? And he wants a T-shirt or visor as soon as they're available.
Well, we'll have to talk to our provider, American Eagle.
No,
No.
Bonobos.
Bonobos, man.
Oh, Bonobos. I'm sorry.
Also, Bonobos replied back that they were honored to be chosen as the Spastics spring attire outfitter.
Yeah, they're
Good.
one of the only people that have tweeted at us all season. I mean, other than our legions of fans.
Please tell your friends
Another
about the
Dan
show.
or no day.
Please tell your fans about this podcast.
Anyway, well, I guess we talked about this a little bit, but someone give Mr. Region something to go home with. Make him happy.
I'll give Mr. Region, I'll go with my pick, Danny Valencia, making some kind of an impact at some point. Don't know why.
At DH?
DH, left field kind of thing. Actually, he doesn't really. Does he play left field? I don't remember. More like a DH kind of fill in, but platoon. Not many at bats, but when he gets his at bats, produces something. So I'll go with him.
Well, there you go, Mr. Region. Thanks for your email, and we will be sending you that visor shortly.
I don't want visors.
What?
We're not getting visors.
Excuse me.
No one. No
Do you
one
doubt?
wears visors.
Do you doubt the old ball coach?
We want visors.
If it's good enough for Spurrier, it's good enough for you. No.
Yeah, you see, you need visors there to, it's just, NFL.
5-11.
It's in South
true.
Carolina.
Not great. I wish I usually I have lots of good quotes from the old ball coach, but I can't think of them. Oh well. Next time.
The old ball coach.
Next episode on the Orioles Spastics. Quotes from the old ball coach. And karaoke from Chris and Charlie.
Oh yeah, I think that we should seriously do that.
We're doing it.
I'm down.
I think that's going to wrap us up for this evening. So does anyone else have some clothing or closing thoughts before we end?
Yeah, clothing thoughts. I know Bonobos is a fan of the podcast. So Bonobos, just so you know, I could use some pants, run a little bit low. Hook a brother up.
Clothing thoughts. This is more of a footwear thought. I recommend Toms, even though I guess they're probably back out of style at this point. Or nothing. I think barefoot. I was talking with one of my pals at work today, and we were discussing about how it really changes how you feel about your environment to go for a walk barefoot. It's very interesting. Give it a shot.
Well, I got one